Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So this is just a short video for today, but one I felt like was quite important at the same time, because recently I've had a lot of links coming in from various places. Azeroth in particular has been very helpful with that quite recently, from all over the place, of different things going on in the community, and in particular cool things people have done, created or filmed. There's been loads of stuff going on, as you know. I mean, the game's going to be released soon, the community's growing and growing. Hopefully it will grow more than this once the game's actually launched, but there has been a massive flurry of different things going on all over the place, and I've been linked to a hell of a lot of it, and every time I get linked to some of it I feel like, oh, I really should share this. So over the past few weeks Azeroth has been building up more and more links that up until recently I was just throwing in the descriptions of my videos and then hoping someone would find it and click it without actually talking about it. Well, what I've done is I had a massive list, like absolutely huge, of tons of stuff from all over the place that I've just filtered down into the stuff I found really interesting, and this can become like a bi-weekly thing that we do, I suppose, going forward if it really catches on, where I just do a video showing off and introducing people to all of these cool things that I found and that are going on within the community, because there really is quite a lot happening. Basically, you'll be able to find a link to all of these things in the description down below, and I will run us through the list. So first of all, I just wanted to plug Azeroth herself, because she'd given me a lot of links and put a lot of effort into this. She's doing a series about Guild Wars 2 aimed at people that are transitioning from World of Warcraft. It's actually called Azeroth Pro Tyria Noob. I linked to the first one she did a while ago. Well, the second video is actually out now, so if that's something you feel like you'd be interested in, you can find a link in the description. In fact, I would say if you're one of these people that has got a lot of friends in different games and you'd like to convince them or explain to them what Guild Wars 2 is all about and to move over, then feel free. This could be just the kind of series you're looking for. Though I would caution you, if someone doesn't want to change their MMO, then there's not really much you can do to force that out of them. But do let them know that Guild Wars 2 is at least very different to Guild Wars 1, if that's their reason for not coming, because they didn't like Guild Wars 1. But anyway, you can find her show down there. You can find all of this down here. Now, the other day there was something I was talking about too, the hidden portal that's actually in the Brisban Wildlands. You might have actually seen it for yourself. I was talking about how at the launch of the game the devs have placed things out of our reach, portals that sort of tease us to new areas we should eventually be able to go to through expansions or just live content updates as they go through in the game. Well, somebody actually sent me a message after that saying that they had actually managed to get their way up to this portal. So I talked about how there were a load of bandits trying to build a broken bridge and you couldn't cross the bridge to get to the other side, but you could see a portal there. Well, this guy managed to get over the bridge, so kudos to you for actually managing to do that. So there's a video there of him over at that portal. It doesn't function, unfortunately, but it will take you to the kind of the end of the world where all the terrain stops in a very similar fashion to what happened in Guild Wars 1. And also, it turns out there's actually not just the one portal, there are two different portals in the Brisban Wildlands. There's another one in a keep, and you can find that in the same video. Pretty cool. Next is a post on Reddit. It's getting a bit old now, as a lot of these Reddit posts are, sadly. But this one is to do with the thieves in particular. Now, something with me and the thieves that kind of puts me off was, in what little I've played of them, their initiative runs out very quickly, and I was kind of finding it a bit hard to get around that. So if you guys aren't aware, the primary mechanic of the thief is you no longer have recharges on any of your skills. You can use them, you can just spam them, there is no recharge. But instead you have this extra energy bar, this initiative bar, and all your skills cost initiative, and initiative slowly regenerates. So you can do very quick bursts of any skills you want, but then you have to wait for it to recharge. And there are different ways of trading it and affecting it, and this post on Reddit is a very mathy, so do be aware of that, but a very good post about exactly how initiative works and how you can take advantage of it as a thief. And if you have been having second thoughts about the thief because of their primary mechanic, I would very much recommend you give this a read, because it really is quite eye-opening, and I'm more excited to play a thief now than I was before. The next link is over on Guild Wars 2 Guru, a brilliant compilation of exactly where everyone in the community, well, most people in the community are going to be, guilds, specific gaming websites, people that are very in the know to do with Guild Wars 2. It's got a list of all the servers that are going to be available and exactly where everyone's going to be located, which is really handy. So if you do want to know, if you still haven't decided on the server, if you don't care about the server names, then this could be your ticket. You can see maybe if there's people you recognize there, then you can go to those specific servers. It will also tell you what each server is more orientated towards. Like, for example, you'll see which ones are going to have a lot of PvP focused guilds and stuff in them. You'll see which ones are really into World versus World and so on. So that's quite nice. There's a tool that somebody's created, which I spent a while playing with. If you'd played Guild Wars 1 and made your own guild, or at least were an officer of a guild and you had the privilege to do this, you might have spent a lot of time creating the design for your guild's cape, the emblem of your guild. And I'm the kind of person that either I will just very quickly say, right, this, that's fine, and then just be done with it, or before, I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours on something like it. And I remember doing it in Guild Wars 1 when I first made my first guild, when I first got in the game, pissing about with the Emblem creator. Well, before the game is even live for Guild Wars 2, you can do the same thing. So Guild Wars 2 is slightly different with what it allows you to do for customization, and here is a tool that runs in your browser that lets you do it as if you are actually in game, so you can design exactly what your guild's emblem will be like before the game's even out, which is really cool. And B, I do warn you, if you are the kind of person that gets sucked into that, you will get sucked in for a very long time. Next is a video on YouTube. There have been a fair few of these, to be perfectly honest, but this one's quite nice. Talking about the various economies that exist in Guild Wars 2. So you should think, right, it's quite simple, right? A game, you've got gold, which you get from monsters that you can then spend on items, and you can sell junk stuff to get more gold, right? And it should really be as simple as that in most games. But MMOs are big games, and Guild Wars 2 has many different currencies. This is just one such video of a few that very accurately, very concisely, and very simplistically explains how all of the different currencies work and interact with one another in-game. As I say, I've seen a fair few of these before, but this is just the meat of it. So if you are wondering exactly how it all interacts with one another, it's a pretty well thought out and presented video. The next link is something of a mini game. Again, it runs in your browser, you don't have to install anything, but what you'll do when you go onto the website is it will show you a screenshot from the game, and as you know, there are boons and conditions and different effects that you can be affected by in Guild Wars 2, right? Well, this has got a bunch of those effects will flash up on the screen and impact you, and you'll see the icons of them, and you have just a short period of time to memorize what those icons are and then enter into the website what they were, what your character was being affected by. Now, this might sound like just a stupid little thing that you can do in your spare time, but actually it'll be quite helpful for when you get in game, because you'll get used to what these icons mean and how you should be reacting to them while you're actually in game. It is really quite cool. So if you are worried that you can't just look at a character and see all these boons and wonder exactly what's going on with them, this should get you used to that, because there is going to be a lot of condition spam and a lot of boon spam when we get in Guild Wars 2, and that's kind of nice to sort of ease you in a nice fun mini game-ish way. You can see how far you can get because it gets progressively harder and harder and harder. The next link is quite an old, again, discussion on Reddit that people are having about their builds. So there are many build creators tools and stuff out there, there's no secret, but these guys were creating reasonably unique builds created around certain concepts and then talking about them and sharing them, and there's some pretty interesting stuff going on there, and obviously the opportunity to make your own unique builds as well and show them off to everyone, which I think is quite cool, because obviously there was supposed to be somewhat less focus on build making in Guild Wars 2, but it's interesting how much you can really play with now that we know all the systems are in place and you can see how it all interacts with one another. It's kind of cool. The next link isn't anything new, and it's not even necessarily something to do with Guild Wars 2, but it's something I was linked to earlier and something that's gone under my radar. It's an old music video someone had done for a song by Mika, so if you don't like Mika, then don't watch it, but it's an animation they did to do with the Charr for the song, and it's just really quirky and really cool and quite fun, so I threw that in there too because I was watching it just before filming this video, so why not? The next link is another tool. It's a signature generator. There have been a fair few of these as well, but it's another Guild Wars 2 signature generator. Probably my favourite one so far. It's the latest one that Arinth linked to. It's kind of cool if you're looking for a signature. The next one too is a very cool image. This has happened a lot as well actually, but this is one of the cleaner ones where basically people have overlaid the Guild Wars 1 map with the Guild Wars 2 map. This was happening from as early as when we saw that map from the Ghosts of Ascalon book. When we first saw that, that was the first time ever we'd really seen a map for Guild Wars 2, and it looked drastically different to any other maps, but when you overlaid it with the Guild Wars 1 map, it actually seemed to work out pretty well. Well, this is the latest and probably my favourite incarnation of such a thing. It's all the Guild Wars 1 outposts, locations and dungeons and so forth, their icons overlaid onto the Guild Wars 2 map. So you're not seeing two maps together and it doesn't get all really blurry, but it does have all the interesting places and points of interest together, and you do see how clearly it all lines up. It really is quite nice. So you can see exactly where, for example, Fisherman's Haven was in Guild Wars 2, and you can see how all of these places have moved around. It is pretty awesome, and you can see certain areas that might surprise you that are accessible in-game. I wouldn't have expected, for example, the Henge of Denravi to be accessible in-game, but it is there, right there in the Brisban Wildlands, and you can check this stuff out. Another video for the next link, it's someone actually managing to escape out of structured PvP. Quite funny, really. We all know that Infiltrator's arrow for the thief has a tendency to take you through walls like people were using it to glitch into the Sharkmoor Caverns jumping puzzle a while ago. Well, the guy manages to use it. It seems like a total fluke, but he actually uses it to get entirely out of an sPvP map, something ArenaNet will have to be careful of, I'm sure. I'm not sure how people would exploit it with a game type like Conquest, but they would have to be careful. But it's this guy manages to get out. It's a very short video, but it is kind of cool to see. Next is another tool. Now, if you don't know, ArenaNet have set up their marketplace, their auction house, so that you can actually access it from a website and check this stuff out. Well, somebody had created a tool that basically logs into this website continuously and keeps taking snapshots of the prices and fluctuations and basically of the market all the time, and then he recompiles it so you get to see it in graphs and stuff. It's really cool. Basically, this will be a very cool tool as far as I can see when the game's actually out, to be able to see market trends, how prices of certain things are going. So if you're someone that really likes to power trade or something like that, this will be really handy. And already it's kind of cool to see just from the stress test and beta events, and I'll love to see how that changes again when the game launches. You know, like certain dyes, like black dye is going for lows, but I'm sure that won't be one of the best dyes when we actually get in game. Next link is a Reddit thread again. It doesn't matter that this one's dated though. These are screenshots using the high-res screenshot option, and I cannot believe how amazing Divinitys Reach looks when you take these screenshots. The game doesn't run in this mode because it hasn't got all these textures and things loaded, but the game is absolutely phenomenal, stunning. This was an option in Guild Wars 1 too. I believe you had to hold shift while pressing print screen or something, but really, really nice. I believe there's a little bit of talk that actually wasn't there in the latest stress test, which is a bit of a shame, but really mind-blowing images and just a collection of shots of Divinitys Reach, really. I was shocked to see it, and I'm sure you will be too. Lastly, we have a really handy link. I've had a lot of people asking me for tech supporty type stuff recently, which I'm not good with because I don't have tons and tons of computers, so I don't know about your specific error, but I have had mostly people asking me whether their system will run Guild Wars 2. Well, to you guys, I show you this link. Somebody has compiled a load of different GPUs, not CPUs, just the graphics cards, and what they are and what Guild Wars 2 is expected to run at on them. So you can check this out. It's got minimum specs and exactly what people are expecting. So you can go on there and see what your GPU is and actually find out how Guild Wars 2 will run. So very handy, and hopefully that helps anyone out with some questions like that. But anyway, there you go, guys. Those are all the links. I was hoping this was going to be a lot more quick fire than that. It wasn't. Let me know about this video if you would really like to see more, or whether it's a bit redundant because you've already seen it yourself. Do feel free to tell me. But yeah, you can find it in the description for one last time, everything I just talked about. So thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.